Emery, thank you. After winning 5 Olympic medals, 7 world championships while raising a son, many people could be forgiven for thinking Hayley Wickenheiser would settle into, I don't know, a quiet post-retirement life. No, that's so wrong. In her new memoir called Over the Boards, Lessons from the Ice, Hayley shares some of the wisdom that's carried her from her days as a legend on the ice to her new life as a Toronto Maple Leafs executive and medical doctor. Hayley is joining us this morning. What an honor to talk to you today. Hi.
Hi, Lindsey. Good morning.
You're so busy. I mean, you earn your MD. You work as a player development exec with the Leafs, and then you decide to write a memoir during a pandemic. What made you want to write this memoir at this point in your life?
Well, it's not so much a memoir as it is like more of a lessons from my life, mostly in hockey, a little bit in medicine. I started the book actually prior to the pandemic, about 3 or 4 months. And then when the pandemic hit, it just gave me a little bit of time to finish it, because life as I knew it, like everyone else, kind of stopped there for a little while. So I was able to give it some good headspace. And really, it's a sort of a collection of stories, lessons that I've learned through leadership, through winning, through losing. I talk a lot about failure, and just maybe at this time with what's been going on in the world, I thought it might resonate with people.
You detail your first experience performing CPR on a suspected overdose victim as a medical student. Can I read a bit of that to our viewers? Okay,
sure.
So you say,
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly what was going on around me. I was pretty focused on my job. There were firefighters standing off to the side watching. A couple of nurses put in an IV and attached monitors to the young patient. Then the doctor told me to stop. It was over. She declared his time of death. He was the same age as my son. What was that moment like for you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I still get emotional. It's funny. There's not, I'm a pretty stoic person, but every time I hear or talk about this story, I still get emotional because, it was the first time for me that I put my hands on another human being, and had a very tiny part in trying to save his life. There was obviously many people in the room much more qualified than me, but it's quite something to. I'd watched a lot of traumas to that point, but then when you're actually involved in one, I think one thing that I've learned through medicine is, I say this a lot, it's one thing to be the best of the world, which I did a lot. We did a lot with hockey, and it's another thing to be the best for the world. And what I've seen in medicine and healthcare providers over this past 18 months has truly been the best for the world. I mean, people have gone above and beyond to help others, even amongst their own suffering and fatigue and exhaustion, which I think is where most people are at today. And I guess I'm just really grateful to be in the profession and be able to learn and to help people at a time like this.
You also talk about how your life changed when you adopted your son, Noah. You say this: back when I was 19, I had focused solely on winning. When things went wrong, my emotions bubbled over disproportionately. Now I had a little guy waiting for me at home who needed me. Getting tripped over, receiving a cheap shot suddenly felt a lot less important. Your son is a young man now, and your days of taking cheap shots are hopefully over. But do you still rely on that perspective as a parent when things get tough at the hospital or when you're working with the Leafs?
I do. I vacillate between doing really serious things every day and, people's lives are in your hands, to coming to the rink, which is a very serious thing. But at the end of the day, it's just a hockey game. But the reality is that everybody's perspective and everybody's outtake on life, it's all relative. And I think, my son has really taught me about perspective. When I was a young athlete, we call it the disease of me. You're so caught up in what you eat, sleep, drink, how you're functioning, you can lose track of reality. And, when you go home and you've got a 1-year-old that's, just wants to play toys and doesn't care what happened at the rink, it really forces you to kind of snap back into it. So now he's a 21-year-old man-child who I can barely get on the phone to FaceTime. So it's full circle.
I know, it goes so quickly. Now, I have to say, Hayley, you were one of the first voices that I saw publicly respond after Kyle Beach, bravely came forward with his story. You tweeted this: Kyle Beach, you're a brave man. You have and will change hockey culture forever. Much respect. So, today we're learning about more allegations surfacing, this time at the Pittsburgh Penguins, covering up the alleged sexual assault of 2 women by a coach with their minor league affiliate. I mean, when you look at the big picture here with what's going on with hockey and the conversations around culture, what changes need to happen, in your opinion?
Well, I think hockey is a microcosm of society, really. I said what I said about Kyle because I have no doubt those things Obviously, they went on. It is a horrible and was a horrible situation for him, but also hurt people. And I think through my own experiences in hockey, I've faced a tremendous amount of abuse growing up, not sexual, but a variety of, emotional, taunting. As a young girl playing boys hockey, it was horrible at times. The culture of hockey does need to change. People like Theron Fleury and Sheldon Kennedy have long ago told us that this is a problem, that it occurs, but it also occurs across our society, and we can't forget that. I think what we have now is an opportunity within the NHL to be elevating and to do better and to educate players and staff about what can happen. I had a lot of conversations yesterday and around, the rink and with some of my friends who were saying, well, how does a 6'4" guy get assaulted by a 5'5" video coach? And the reality is it's a power differential, and you don't realize, what can happen until you put people in these very vulnerable positions. It really has nothing to do with physical size or anything like that. And so the more that we educate ourselves and understand how this goes on, the more that we can safeguard mostly our children growing up, and then into the professional ranks, have some accountability and some standards that currently don't exist.
Thank you for saying that. I had the exact same conversation with a family member of mine, and it certainly has opened up dialogue in terms of that power play. Hayley Wickenheiser, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
All right, thanks for having me, Lindsey.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.